Inside the viewport, we see all our 3D objects. In normal state, every viewport is showing the objects as a 3D wireframe. You can set different types of viewing options with this drop-down menu here in the viewport. If you set the view to bounding box, the display changes every object to bounding box. The bounding box represents the boundaries of all objects as a cube. This is helpful if the viewport slows down because to draw many polygons. One tip of working with Softimage: if you click with the middle mouse button on one of the buttons or drop-down menus, it will repeat the last command or reverse the last command. In case of the viewing options, with middle clicking on the drop-down menu, it will switch back to the last viewing option. In this case, back to wireframe mode or back to bounding box mode. The depth queue simulates fog in your viewport. This will not be rendered in the final image. Only fog for the viewport. Might be helpful to make a preview animation capturing of your viewport, like Playplast inside Maya. Hidden line represents your object as a wireframe, but it will be culling all elements on the backside of your objects. Constant mode will shade all the objects with a constant material. This is helpful for designing shapes of characters and animation poses. The shaded view represents a cheap preview of the shading of your model with specular or color of your material. In this case, all models have the Softimage standard material applied. Textured display the main texture of objects if they have a texture applied to it. This mode will preserve the cheap shading preview with speculars. Textured decal display the texture also, but with a constant shading method for better visualization. The high quality and real-time shaders are not recommended to work with. It really slows down your viewport and workflow. I'm working most of the time with the hidden line removal option or shaded view. If your model is a high dense mesh, in most cases you have dark areas of your mesh. This is because all your edge lines are very thick. You can set the thickness of the edge lines. Go to Display Options. A property page will open. Under the Options tab, you can set under Wireframe Highlight Opacity the thickness of your lines. Another helpful representation of your mesh is to work within the shaded view. Go again to the Display Options and set under the Options tab the Show Wireframe on Unselected Objects. This will mix your wireframe mode with the shade mode. Set your wireframe thickness with Wireframe Highlight Opacity. You can have also a quick access for displaying the wireframe on top of your shaded mesh with Wireframe on Shaded. In shaded view, all elements will be lighted with the lights in your scene. This is not helpful at all. If you have a light that is only coming from one direction, you will see dark areas. You can override the lighting of your viewport with Headlight. This will lighten your scene from the camera vector. You can change the parameters of the light under the display options. From here, you can also switch the headlight on and off. This will affect only your viewport, not the rendering. If you want to change your viewport background color, you can do that with a click on the camera icon on top of the viewport and choose Scene Colors. You can switch the background to black or gray. The Rotoscope option allows you to place a background image. You need this if you want to model an object from a photo or to match a photo with your 3D scene. We will discuss this later. By default, the viewport is showing all elements of the scene, like geometries, nulls or empties, curves, bones, etc. This can mess up your viewport. But you can choose which type of objects you want to see. Click on this little icon on top of the viewport. From here, you can select which type you want to hide or unhide from the viewport. For example, hide the geometry. Remember, if you middle-click with the mouse button on the same menu, here the eye icon, you switch to the last command. In this example, it will switch on the geometry again. Normally, if you click on the icon and you choose your option, the drop-down menu will be closed. If you want to select more than one option, press the Shift button on your keyboard while you select options. This will let you open the drop-down menu till you release the Shift button. An easy way to select only a few options is to first deselect all options and then select the option that you want. In this case, show only geometry. Or the chains. To show all vertices or normals of selected objects, you can choose its visibility also here. If you want to show viewport elements inside of a mesh, you can choose X-ray. This will show you all nulls or chains inside your mesh if you are working with a hidden line or shaded view.